everyone, how's it going? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to Three Buck Theater. And over the course of the past, oh my God, several days, there has been this renewed fight over the Snyder Cut. And it's getting relatively ridiculous. It absolutely is. But I wanted to address this new thing that just came out about it, that apparently is a corroboration of a report earlier this week that I believed wasn't real. And I want to just make sure that when something else comes up from an alternate source, we can at least discuss it like adults and see where things are. So a couple days ago, Andy Signore over at Fandom Wire dropped this exclusive scoop saying that Snyder Cut is not coming and Warner Brothers will never work with Zack Snyder ever hell again. Now, I don't believe it one damn bit, but what he does say in here is that there's no deal for the Snyder Cut, that there's no deal for it, that Snyder wanted 20 million, that there's no deal. Grace Randolph has come out and said 20 million as well, but it could just be, that's the number that she jumped onto. We don't know what her sources are. But today, there's an article that popped up over on the Illuminerdi.com. Yeah, no, I'm not making up. That's the name of the website too. The Illuminerdi.com, where they say here that Snyder Cut absolutely has no deal at WB, according to source. So this is, again, a second source that's coming out and saying that the Snyder Cut has no deal at HBO Max. And this is written by Josh Goldman. Now, Josh Goldman here, I looked into him real quick, and he actually happens to be the co-founder of the Illuminerdi. And I do find the Illuminerdi to be a bit of an interesting operation because it's relatively unknown until recently. I mean, looking here at their who is information, because I kind of went diving into it just out of pure curiosity. We can see that they were registered originally back in 2017, June of 2017, and they updated June of 2019 was the last update that they did. And that's really about it. They just kind of recently came on the scene, as evidenced here by SimilarWeb, which shows us a traffic overview of them. And so even though they were registered originally in 2017, they didn't start getting active until November of 2019, where they only pulled in 4 views, according to SimilarWeb, and then almost 7,000 views in December, shooting up from 7,000 to 110,000 in the span of 30 damn days. Now, that to me is quite fascinating. That to me is quite interesting. But then since then, it's dropped to 76,000, and then now, just this last month, it dropped down to 50,000. And so when I see this trend happening the way that I see it, I have to call into question motivations. And that is just me as well as being a skeptical individual and not at all a gigantic jerk. No, really. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what these guys know. They kind of came on the scene during a lot of the big scoopster phases that were going on. From what I've been told, they're owned by a couple different scoopsters, but that could also that they all kind of prop each other up. There's kind of a clique happening with a lot of the scoopsters online. If you follow them on Twitter, you can actually see this happening. It's interesting to watch. But I don't want to, sit there and assign blame or call into question credibility, because I don't know everything. So I can't say that. But looking here at this article, so this is why we're here. Snyder Cut absolutely has no deal, according to source. So it does start off by saying that Andy posted that original article saying the other day that the Snyder Cut will not be heading to HBO Max. Then it says here that after reaching out to a source ourselves, this is what Joshua says here. We can confirm that Andy is indeed correct about the current status of the Snyder Cut coming to HBO Max. We were informed that while they could make no official statement regarding its status, there is indeed no deal for them to fund its completion or to release it on HBO Max. That doesn't automatically spell doom for fans eager to see it. Who knows what the future holds, but for now, at least, we can confirm that it's not happening. And I mean, look, you guys know me. You guys know that I'm pro Snyder Cut. So I have to say this regardless. But come on. Come on. Like, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where we don't even have an official release date of HBO Max yet, right? The tentative release date is May 2020. That's 2 weeks from now, right? We have no official release date for when this thing is coming. We don't. We don't know what's going to be brand new on the service when it launches. We don't know. I think Quibi, in its success, and I'm doing air quotes on that one, is definitively impacting what is happening with HBO Max right now amid the pandemic. So what I've heard by reaching out to my source, because again, everyone's got different sources, and this, of course, I will name mine because he puts himself out there, and that's Mikey Sutton. I asked Mikey, what's going on with this? What has he heard? He told me they're still working on negotiating the deal. That does seem to be more accurate. Now, the article here by Josh, and this is where I think Mikey might be onto something here. It does say that Snyder has all of the footage. He's got all of the footage. He's shown this on Vero. He has shown that he has all of this footage. So if he's got it all, that means he's probably been tinkering with it for quite some time, doing home editing, making sure that, he's shown it to multiple people. We know he's shown it to multiple people, which means that he's been tinkering away at this project for 3 years, just about. If you want my honest opinion, he probably went home and to grieve with the loss of his daughter, threw himself into a project. And he probably has been tinkering with the Snyder Cut for all of these years, which is why he's just been continuously releasing it. And so if he's got a completed version of his own, a completed hard edit, a hard cut, not finished cut, but a hard cut of the movie, that would make sense why he would go to Warner's and say, listen, I need about $20 million to finish this sort of thing. And now they're negotiating. Like I said before the other day, doing that Vero stream, doing the live stream, the audio commentary over BVS and talking about the Ultimate Edition and giving us that director's commentary and taking us through, that was all a negotiation tactic. That was just to showcase interest. It makes no sense to do it on the 4th anniversary of its release. The 4th, why not the 5th? There's something going on, and that something going on is absolutely HBO Max. And if you look at this article, if you look at Andy's article, is pure hyperbole. I do. I think it's pure hyperbole. I think a lot of it's crap, right? They're never going to work with them ever again. But he kind of backtracked on that and talked to somebody else who had said maybe AT&T will come in and override this. And he's like, maybe, but as he's been agitating and attacking Snyder Cut fans all week long in order to drag them on the live streams for basically nerd versions of internet blood sports, which is what's been happening. I'm sorry. I don't take it necessarily with the biggest value system, the most honesty. I'm not looking at this like, oh, that's honest Andy. I'm not looking at it like that because nothing about it seems like that to me. But when we have that situation going on, we also have, again, all these little things that keep kind of adding up to the bigger picture. So if Josh here independently verified through his source that there's no deal in place and they cannot comment, that doesn't mean it's not happening. But he does say it's not happening right now. And he does go on in his article to talk about the Donner Cut, which took 26 years for it to come out. So it's not like there isn't precedent for this sort of thing happening with DC Comics and DC comic movies. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And Snyder, I think at this point, if he's ramping up pressure by dropping more and more and more information, yeah, he's completed his version of it, but it's just not done. They've got the hard cut. Now they just need to go in and add the additional footage and get the extra CG done in order to make it a reality. And he's estimating 20 million if those rumors are to be believed. Do it. Do it, Warners. What do you got to lose at this point? What do you got to lose? You lost more money on Swamp Thing than you would lose in this particular situation. Just what do you have to lose at this point? So this is in my mind, and I'm looking at this from an Occam's razor perspective. I will also admit I have bias, but those of you guys who follow me a lot know that I look at things from an Occam's razor perspective as often as I can. Business-wise, it makes sense to spend the 20 million and to use it as a way to get people to go to HBO Max. Those people out there that say, well, why would they want to dilute the brand? Have they not already kind of diluted the brand with Birds of Prey? I mean, Zack Snyder had no involvement on that, and that movie crashed and burned. So it's kind of like maybe they realized that in order to keep going with what Snyder had initiated, it might be good to play ball. We've got movies coming out this year. Wonder Woman is set in the Snyderverse. That was confirmed yesterday with the Empire article. We know that Aquaman 2 and Shazam 2 are going to be set within the Snyderverse. We know this. So they're still continuing with that. They might have done an offshoot with Joker, but I still think we're going to find out that whole thing ended up going to That's going to end up being part of the DCEU, but just an earlier version of it. And I think that's going to be retconned in. I'm sorry. I know Todd Phillips has said otherwise, but hey, the studio kind of reigns supreme on this one. If they want to find a way to make it connected, they'll find a way to make it connected. Although, look, I will fully admit that's a long shot. Joker should stay its own thing. It shouldn't even have a sequel. Leave it as it is. It's great the way it is. It's perfect the way it is. Be done with it. Move on. Now, I've also been hearing that the Batman is going to be set within the DCEU timeline. I don't know how much of that's true either. We need to know more. But if every other movie coming out right now is set in the Snyderverse, with the exception of Joker and the Batman, it doesn't make any sense. If they're still having a connected universe, why disconnect your most popular character? It just doesn't make any sense. And if you're looking at this from a business perspective, what better way to reaffirm faith with the fans, to admit that there might have been follies with the past leadership, which is why we're in this situation, than to give the fans what they want, which is to show them that you listen and that you care. And I'm going to bring it up again, and people can fight me on it again, but I'm going to bring it up again. Look at Sonic the damn Hedgehog. That is a prime example of why listening to the fans can make you a crap ton of money. And again, just to further reiterate my point in regards to Snyder Cuts, go back and look at the DVD home video sales for Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition from July 2016. For the 5 weeks, it was at number 1. And over the span of the last nearly 4 years, a lot of people have come around to it being a good movie. And so as a result of it being a good movie, and people wanting to see what the conclusion to that was, it is better served than not to release the damn Snyder Cut, to finish it and to release it. That's where I think things are. So when I see articles like this, when I look at the Illuminerdi and they're like, well, we can confirm it's not happening. You can't actually confirm anything. You've just confirmed that there's no official deal in place. That's it. That's not a story. That's a speculation. But everything else points to there being something on the horizon. Now, eventually, and I'll admit, eventually if the film never comes out, then it never comes out. And we've spent all this time bickering over it for no reason. But I don't believe that. I don't believe this is going to be a 26-year wait for the Donner Cut. We're in a different timeline. If the footage is there, if Zack has it, and he only needs a little bit more, then give it to him. Because Warner's, at this point, what do you have to lose? It's if it fails, then it's a tax write-off. And you could still sell it and probably make $20 million on it. You could put it in theaters and probably make $20 million on it in order to get the money back. I'm just saying, there's ways to go about it. But in the meantime, the absolute state of the anti-Snyder Cut movement, they're grasping at straws. And I say this because it's gone from, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Warner's is never going to do it, to, well, okay, it could maybe happen someday, but Snyder's got to stop screwing around because, Joss Whedon saved the movie, which he didn't. And then it's, well, okay, so it could happen. He probably has a cut. They just need to finish it, but there's no deal. Just say what it is. It's not an if. It's not an if, it's a when. At this point, I think we can pretty much definitively say that it's not an if, it is a when. Negotiations are happening. It's pretty clear if you look at that Vero stream and what he's been up to. He still cares about this movie. He still wants to see it done. And he is putting pressure on Warner Brothers, and that's a negotiation tactic. It's politics. I brought that up the other day. So it's not a matter of if. It is simply a matter of when. And even though there's been no... And look, and I'll reiterate this point, and then I'll end it. We do not have a confirmed release date for HBO Max. Sometime in May 2020 is not a definitive release date. So if there's no release date for the service, how can there be confirmation for the movie just yet? It's all part of a PR packaging plan. Because if they go, we're announcing this HBO Max for Memorial Day weekend, I'm speculating, for Memorial Day weekend 2020, and then they also, in that first wave, they go, oh, and we've now signed a deal with Zack Snyder to finish the Snyder Cut, to bring it to HBO Max, and it will be out before the end of the year. That would then get people to buy subscriptions. That would then work to build up their DC universe and the content that is going to be on HBO Max. And for, again, I have to say this. If your argument is, but it goes against the brand, keep in mind that also on HBO Max, once DC Universe officially folds, which is going to be soon, all the Supermans, all the Batmans, all the other Warner's content is going to migrate over to HBO Max. So all of those alternate timeline movies that we knew from when we were kids that don't matter anymore, that aren't part of an overall narrative, they're still going to be available to watch. So that argument, again, goes out the window. It goes out the window. At this point, the anti-Snyder Cut people, their arguments are dead. They're dead. They're just dead because there's nothing that they have to hold on to. They just keep grasping at straws, while the pro-Snyder Cut people keep looking at evidence as it keeps getting dropped like breadcrumbs through a forest. Snyder's leading us somewhere. That I completely believe. But I do put it to you. Your thoughts, your opinions. I want to know. Let me know down in the comments. I will talk to you guys all later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you again for watching, and peace out. Hey, would you like more 3 Buck Theater goodness? Well, head on over to twitch.tv/3 Buck Theater for the Hollywood After Dark live stream, taking place most nights at about 10 or 10:30 p.m., where you're going to get great bits like this. That's right, folks. Twitch.tv/3 Buck Theater. See y'all there. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.